party started.
Let's make it live.
Says we are live. Are we live,
It's
guys?
alive. It's alive.
We had the maturity level of 3-year-olds. It's great.
If only they got to see what we talk about whenever it's not live.
Jeez, if people knew what we talked about off air, oh boy, it would be bad.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Horrible.
Let's see. We got Greg the Great in the house. We've got Chris in the house.
Oh man, the natives are already getting restless in chat right now. Geez, guys, we just started the show. Chill out.
Jimmy Rude.
Greg, did you forget to take your happy pills this morning? Because you're like grumping at everybody.
Crickets. We got King Random in the house. How you doing?
Hey, dude. Oh man.
Marvin's for everyone.
Hey. We got Big Marvin in the house. And
Greg says, "Oh no, he didn't."
Big Marvin says, "Watch out, or he'll haunt you in your dreams."
Hey, how come your Marvin doesn't have a loop on top?
For the 15 zillionth time, I cut him at the halfway point in Mesh Mixer, so that way he could be flat packed for travel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why. I've debated remaking him bigger, but we'll see.
King Random doesn't know who Pink Floyd is. What?
Well, Boss was doing way too much.
So how you doing this week, my friend?
Hanging in there. Let's just say that right around the holidays is definitely kicking my butt for various reasons, but you know, what are you going to do?
Yeah, retail at Christmas time is no fun either.
Hey,
I used to take and ask the new people whenever they'd come to work there. I'd say, "So, do you love Christmas?" "Yeah." "Do you really, really like Christmas?" "Oh, I love it. It's my favorite time of year." I said, "It won't be after this year."
Oh, you're just mean. King Random. Yeah, the mobile version of chat doesn't let you do that. It's really annoying. Chris is saying Jimmy arranged with G-Tech for everybody to get a demo for. Dude, that is awesome, Jimmy. You rock for doing that. Thanks, Jimmy. You get a
G-Tech for you. A G-Tech for you. Be the Oprah women
have that
G-Tech printers.
You get a printer. Everybody gets a printer.
That would be funny.
Oh wait, I got something offset. Crap, I almost fell. Where did my bag go? Oh, there it is.
What'd you forget?
The all-important, you know, on-screen, irritate everybody who's had them. This thing.
Oh, there you go.
Seriously, people?
Waiting for Calvin to comb his hair. Okay, I think we need to take this whole thing to a new level. I think that you need to have a competition for whenever you hit 1,000 subscribers. I think you should. The thing should be once you hit 1,000 subscribers, you'll get a haircut. I'll take you to Great Clips. We'll do a vlog. We'll call it Jimmy Takes Calvin to Great Clips.
The real question is, what will happen first? The Vegas trip or that?
Hey, maybe it'll happen the same weekend. Get your haircut in Vegas.
Why does that sound like a really bad idea?
What's this Chris is saying? Chestnuts roasting on a heated bed. Extruders running like my nose. Oh God.
Did everybody like? No, you would not want to watch that. You no.
Oh, there we go. A live stream of the haircut. 1,000 subscribers for Calvin. I'll totally stand there with a camera and have it there the whole time.
This is about as bad as on Dustin's stream when I joked if I hit like 10,000 subscribers by the end of the night, I'd run around in the street on fire or something ridiculously stupid like that, which was never going to happen. It's like, what's going to happen now that you said that? I'm like, yeah, there's a reason why I said 10,000 subscribers. I don't think that's going to happen.
1,000 subscribers could totally happen.
Yeah, there's a number difference there. And as I'm doing this, I'm jumping on Social Blade because, gotta yell at you guys when it gets too close to 1,000. Sub count.
I think White Tigers would probably help to give you a haircut.
Cornrows, I definitely do. That I would do. Oh, you guys are just killing me in chat tonight. You guys are horrible.
Cornrows for C-Dub.
Somebody
see that.
Somebody owes me those Snoop Dogg pigtails. Just saying.
Snoop Dogg pigtails. What?
You know how Snoop Dogg is like this, and he's all like, "Yeah, for shizzle," like that.
Didn't he become Snoop Lion or something there for a bit?
No. Now he's back to Snoop Dogg.
Is he okay?
Yeah, don't worry. Reggae wasn't his deal.
Okay, man, we're 6 minutes into. You might as well go ahead and get started with it.
Okay, the original topic for tonight was not me getting a haircut at Great Clips, which is not happening at 1,000 subscribers.
Yes, it was.
Shut up, Jimmy. I will mute you. I'm just kidding.
Buzz cut for Calvin.
You guys and my hair are horrible.
Speaking of buzz cuts, bring on the turkey.
I would totally do a Weird Al parody for Gangsta Paradise. Mm-hmm.
That was his best work ever on that one.
Which one was that again? Oh, it was Amish Paradise. Yeah, that one was good. I think I actually saw him perform it live. That was epic. But yeah, back to the original topic before the whole hair crisis. The original topic of tonight's stream was supposed to be about 3D printing and the holidays. And being that Thanksgiving is right around the corner, literally, it's in like 2 days, I figured it was a really good example to use in a sense. But one of the things that I was thinking, besides the obvious, I can print a little pilgrim hat, or I can print a little turkey model, there's nothing wrong with that. That's totally cool. But one thing that I was thinking that was kind of interesting about 3D printing is, especially if you're like me and you always went to a really awkward Thanksgiving dinner with relatives and it was like there was nothing to talk about other than politics and religion. Bad ideas for any holiday meal. I was kind of thinking 3D printing was a good way to kind of, prime the conversation or make a little something, or say there's kids coming over, it gives them something to do. It's kind of a cool way to do things. So in the comments section, because I can't get screen share to work to save my life, I've given up on it for now. It's terrible. I can't get it to work. But I've put down there some links to various things that I found on Thingiverse that were actually kind of interesting. So one of them that was interesting was, and it sounds kind of cheesy, but it's actually a cool idea, is there little toothpicks that you can 3D print that you can stick like next to food dishes. So if you know that relatives say have like a food allergy or something, so you don't have to bust out the EpiPen and slam it in their leg and ship them off to the ER really fast, you can put little signs saying, you know, contains gluten or nuts or things like that.
Contains nuts.
Thanks, Jimmy. Morning. Jimmy's going a little bit crazy tonight. He's had to deal with way too many holiday people with shopping, and he hates it already. Please be nice to your retail associates around Christmas time. They might be Jimmy, and they might remember you, and they might unsubscribe from you. You know, if you're not nice to me, I'll unsubscribe from your channel. Oh my gosh, I'll be nice again.
Yeah, that's a good idea. No. That's a good idea to have that kind of a thing. That way, anybody's got allergies, they kind of know ahead of time what's up. You know, if it's got peanuts or if it's got, you know, walnuts. Like with me, that's walnuts. It's not a severe allergy, but it's enough where I get a blister right away on the tip of my tongue if it's in the product and something.
I should warn my mom if she makes you any pumpkin bread. Don't put nuts in it, because she had like this addiction to dumping walnuts in it. And I'm like, you know, some people are allergic to nuts and some people just don't like nuts in their hint, hint. Yeah, I know. Dumps the whole bag of walnuts from Costco in there. And I'm like, you better warn everybody at church. This thing has got like a zillion walnuts in it.
Your subs are going backwards now, Calvin.
Yo, Chris, they're staying steady. But, you know, that's actually, as cheesy as it sounds, actually a really, really good idea, actually, if you're at a party, to have something like that. And I'm not saying that you should go 3D print something and stick it in the actual food item itself, but, you know, putting it next to it. But, I mean, instantly people are going to go, oh, these little, you know, things are really cool. Where did you get them? And you can be like, oh, I 3D printed them. I found them on Thingiverse. And it's like the instant segue into like an hours-long conversation, at least, about 3D printing, because people are like, wait, you can actually print like useful stuff with it. You know, it's kind of a cool way to incorporate it in there in a sense.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that I found that was definitely high up on the list of things that was actually really smart that somebody had come up with. And I was definitely a fan of it. Another Thanksgiving-ish / fall theme thing that was cool is Barb, who has a little company that sells little spools of flexible filament. She came up with some really cool little fun window decals that you can 3D print. And that's, you know, better for if you have kids around or things like that. You know, it's kind of cool to have, you know, gives them a little something to do. It's cool. You can give them to take home, you know, things like that. So that one was definitely another easy print that's also kind of fun. Or even if, you know, the kids are there and you monitor them around the 3D printer or something, you could actually show them it being made, and being it's not like a 3-hour-long print or something. It's something that keeps them occupied and gives them something to do. And we all know when you have kids at a function, they get bored very easy. So you definitely need to give them something to do, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah. I know one thing that I saw last year was the little turkeys that you can print that are placeholders, where you can actually put a paper or card saying, you know, who would be sitting where.
Yeah, that's another good one that I didn't have time to throw in there, but that's also a good little way to segregate, you know, warring relatives. I'm kidding on that part. But it's a good way to, you know, keep, you know, order with where people sit. And it's, you know, it's a fun little thing that you can take home with you at the end of the event or something like that. You know, it's definitely one of those things that, you know, it's it's a simple print, and a lot of people might go, oh, you just printed a little turkey that you stick a card in. But then again, at a holiday function, it's something cool. Say you color coded them by age category, or you hit them around the house with little prizes for the kids that they find them. You know, being creative with something simple like that can really make an event more exciting, if you will.
Yeah.
More interesting as well. It's, you know, it's the little things like that which take it from something boring to something that's actually more memorable, especially if you're younger, you know.
What's this? Is you're allergic to Denny's? What's this?
It's a joke. Long story short, when I was over at my friend Scott's house from the layout videos, he took me and Richard, the club electrician from the layout videos as well, out to get lunch at some like new mall that just went up in the Walnut Creek area. And it was hilarious because it's one of those places that's got like local, organic, free range, stuff. So I was teasing with him. I'm like, yeah. So he's like, oh, they'll cater to any food allergies you have. I'm like, yeah. The only thing I'm allergic to is Denny's, like as a joke. And then the waitress comes by and she's like, oh, does anybody have any food allergies? And Scott with a straight face goes, yeah, Calvin has an allergy to Denny's. And I'm like, Scott, very funny.
Just as straight as he can be too, I bet.
I'm like, thanks a lot, dude. Yeah, I'll take the pizza. So that's where the whole I'm allergic, which I'm really not, joke came from. Yeah. Don't worry, I'm not allergic.
I'm definitely not allergic to their value slam. Not at all.
I swear, like the only like 3 places Jimmy eats at is Denny's, and Denny's. I'm kidding. He eats at Denny's, Black Bear Diner, and that really good Mexican joint with like burritos like this big.
La Costa.
Yeah, that place.
They call it. And then there's also Nana's Barbecue. It's got the great big
I haven't been there yet, so you know we got it like team up at some point. You know, Nana's is calling.
We need to get a hold of Curtis, and we all need to go to Nana's
and maybe build that Moai.
Exactly.
And maybe light some printers on fire. No, that's a different day. We all know Jimmy wants to do his wall.
Okay, so what's the next item that you were looking at?
Okay, back on topic. Thanks, Jimmy. Another one is a little bit like what he had mentioned. This one was a turkey napkin holder, which it sounds cheesy, but it's actually kind of cool. It's a little way to make your dinner a little more elegant, if you will, in a sense. But the last one that was really cool was a Thanksgiving dinner snap out. So pretty much the way this works is it's all one piece that prints with a sprue, so you can very easily snap it out. And it has various little Thanksgiving themed items like the Horn of Plenty, a live turkey, a dead turkey, the wishbone, pilgrim hat, little gravy boat, a pie, little things like that. You know, definitely something that, you know, would be better for the kids, but it's a good example of, you know, little holiday-ish themed prints that you could do. And there's other stuff that you could do. Say you wanted to customize where people sit. You could easily 3D print them like a little keychain thing and set that down at their little spot, and they can take it home with them when they're done, or little things like that. You definitely don't need to go printing a whole vase that sits at the center of the table with LEDs that light up, and then you've got like 3D printed everything. And you don't have to go that crazy if you don't want to. But if you guys have some good suggestions of holiday themed 3D print items, I'm just sticking with Thanksgiving, like I said, because it's just around the corner. But if you guys have any good suggestions for that, definitely fire off in the comments. It would be interesting to know, as personally, I haven't necessarily incorporated 3D printing into holiday stuff outside of, I 3D printed a few little Christmas ornaments to hang up, but nothing that spectacular, if you will. Have you really done anything, Jimmy?
No, not very much. I've been trying to think of something to print out, but I actually have this one that I'm really thinking about. Let me grab it. I'm trying to figure out how I can do the screen share, but I can't figure it out at the moment on here.
Oh, really? Screen share? Yeah, the thing I can't figure out either.
I can do it perfectly fine whenever I'm doing the stream, but when I'm not, I just put in the chat. It's a little like a turkey puzzle. So you take and you print out the pieces for the kids, and they can just put it all together and make a turkey out of it.
Oh, that's cool. That'd definitely be a fun thing to do, because then you can also, you know, set up a little messy area and paint the whole thing or something like that. It's that, or here's another thought, is almost make it like a scavenger hunt where they have to kind of like search around to find the various pieces, and when they're done, they can assemble the turkey and paint it if they want.
Chris says he 3D printed a turkey and he named it Calvin.
I don't know how I should feel about that, dude. Either that's a high honor or that's just plain creepy.
He also said I better build that Moai before Curtis takes his toy back.
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
Yeah, we definitely got to get that done. We need to get it done.
You don't say? I'm definitely like, Jimmy, we should totally like work on that thing. We should totally work on that. Yeah, we'll get around to it eventually. We'll get around to it eventually. Thanksgiving's really around. Yeah, we'll get to it eventually.
Once I get through this week, I think things will slow back down a little bit.
I've got the train show in Pleasanton this coming Friday. Friday setup day, so it's technically Saturday and Sunday, so I'm going to be busy with that. But hopefully after that, things will calm down again, and maybe I'll have time to make it down there and we can work on stuff.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Before we go to... Come on. Vegas.
Oh, duh.
So Calvin and I have been talking about it for some time, about going over to Vegas for the end of the 365 project that Jeff has been doing. So finally all came to a head this week. I've got the final okay from my boss to get the time off on the 30th and the 31st. So we're planning on heading out to Vegas on Saturday the 30th.
You guys are killing me in chat right now.
What's going on here?
Oh, let's see. Dude, somebody's asking if the turkey has my hair, and then somebody else is saying no, it has a shaved head. Somebody else is saying his kids would tell you to pound sand. Somebody says leave him alone, he's done with marble peel. Like, you guys are like all over the place on chat tonight.
They're definitely having fun with you.
I swear, we have gone from the Datsun to the Datsun to my hair.
I bet you're wishing the Datsun was a conversation piece again.
Yeah. Can we just go back to the Datsun and talk about it? You know, not my hair, because everybody likes to talk about my hair and it's driving me nuts. The Datsun is not a terrible car. It just smells really bad, makes lots of noise, and goes like 5 miles an hour. It's great.
Oh, man.
Everybody is roasting me in chat tonight. What the heck is up with this? Oh, man. What am I going to do? Yes, thank you. The holidays make me crazy. Yeah, let's just say it has been an absolutely insane last couple of days, mostly with the club layout, just trying to get it done. I was down like all day Friday, all day Saturday, working to get it done, absolutely burnt out on Sunday, and I'm like slowly recovering again. So from that, and then I've got my mom flying up on Thursday, so trying to get like everything ready with going to Whole Foods tomorrow and getting the Thanksgiving stuff, and then this and that and the other. I'm a little bit scatterbrained right now. Let's just put it that way.
Your mom's flying up on Thursday?
Yeah. Believe it or not, go figure, on holidays, sometimes you can get some of the cheapest rates because the airlines are expecting nobody to be flying on those days. So she was able to fly up cheaper on Thanksgiving Day than if she did it like a day or two in advance. So it's like, okay.
Wow. I'm surprised on that.
Yeah, I was too. She's like, yeah, I'm flying up on Thanksgiving. I'm like, cool. What time are you getting in at?
Eddie says, only thing worse is those little Datsun pickups. Those little Datsun pickups, those things run forever.
Those little things are awesome. Are you kidding me?
Between that and the little Toyota pickups, those things just run forever.
They're like the Energizer bunnies of vehicles.
Little Energizer bunnies on steroids.
Going and going and going.
It's like, die already. The things just keep going. Bodies are all rust to pieces and everything else, but they still run great.
Things held together with Bondo, fiberglass, and duct tape. Oh, it still runs fine. Chris is saying Thanksgiving morning is usually expensive to fly, but prices drop after about 3. Yeah, my mom gets in around 12:20, but the rates for Southwest were pretty much like the same for the whole day. So she just figured to fly in earlier made more sense. So what she does is she usually just books stuff like months in advance when they're having a sale. So, you know, you can get flights for dirt cheap, even around the holidays, relatively speaking, in a sense.
So are you cooking Thanksgiving dinner this year?
No, the only thing I'm cooking for Thanksgiving dinner this year is pre-cut butternut squash that I bought at Trader Joe's today, along with some chopped up onions and potatoes that I'm putting in the oven, and I'm calling that cooking.
So who's cooking dinner?
Whole Foods.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Pretty much what my mom figured, what we figured out very quickly is we don't want to go out to eat because that's just a nightmare. We wanted to have something that was some kind of a meal. So my mom went online and figured out that Whole Foods and other places, but there's a Whole Foods right down the street. So it's like, that works. It's a little bit on the expensive side, but you can get a pre-cooked, it's chilled, but all you gotta do is heat it up like full turkey with like up to 4 different sides, and you can add on sides, you know, so you got some variety, different options for different, you know, dietary restrictions, which is nice. So pretty much the way it works is you can just buy the meal, go in there during your little appointment window, cruise on in there, pick up your food, and then you're good to go for Thanksgiving, which is, you know, pretty nice. I'll put it this way. It's definitely not cheap, but in terms of just simplicity, easiness, low stress, all that stuff, it's the best way to go, because trying to cook in my grandmother's kitchen is like an absolute nightmare. I mean, the oven works, but there's not a lot of room to get around. You're crashing into everybody all the time. It gets really cramped in there. You know, the stove's ancient, so it takes forever to heat up and doesn't really get up to temp. You know, you can cook stuff in it, don't get me wrong. It's just things take a lot longer than you expect. So we're just like, we want simple, especially with my mom flying in on Thanksgiving Day and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, me being gone with the train show. It was just like, let's go easy. Let's get something pre-made. We'll have lots of leftovers. We'll just do that.
Yeah, we have a 23-pound turkey defrosting right now, so I'm going to be fixing that up. Well, I'll stuff it tomorrow night, put it back in the refrigerator, and then I'll throw it in about 5 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. We should be able to eat by noon.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I mean, it's like, for me, I'm pretty non-picky. I'm not a giant fan of turkey, but I'm kind of like, you know what? I'll eat it. You know, mostly I'm more of a sides guy, if you will. But then again, yeah. I've been forced to eat crappy turkey for so many years. I'm kind of like jaded against it in a sense.
Yeah, we'll fix up the turkey, going to stuff it, and then we're going to make mashed potatoes and gravy. And I think Beth picked up a can of corn. I'm personally not a corn guy, so I could care less about that. But yeah, we're going to Costco tomorrow morning to pick up the pumpkin pies.
Oh, nice. Yeah, let's just time to roast my relatives who will remain unnamed. But pretty much their idea of Thanksgiving dinner was like way overcooking the crap out of a turkey and then getting like the nastiest frozen corn and other vegetables and putting it into like the microwave like 3 minutes before we're going to eat and heating it up. And it's just like, here we go again with the crappy tasteless food.
Oh no.
And year after year, more and more and more relatives moved away. So eventually it was just me, my sister, my mom, my dad, and my 2 relatives. And it was boring. So when I finally got my driver's license, it was great because my sister and I stuck around for the dinner part and stuck around for about 10 minutes afterwards. And then we like practically like jumped out the door, jumped in my car and burnt rubber to get back home. We're like, never doing that again.
Chris is asking, how is the stuffing at Denny's, Jimmy? I've never had the stuffing at Denny's, to be honest with you. I've never tried it. I thought about going there this year, but
we all know Jimmy wants the Thanksgiving Grand Slam value meal.
That would be good.
You get 2 strips of turkey meat, you get a little pile of mashed potatoes, a little pile of stuffing, a little pile of cranberry, and boom.
Nah, I'd rather have a piece of turkey, hash browns, 2 eggs, and 2 pancakes.
Hey, I'm trying to make it more Thanksgiving themed than just we give you turkey to be healthy.
Yeah, but if you're going to make a Grand Slam, you got to have eggs.
Sorry. I've only eaten at Denny's once at like 11:30 at night.
It could have been worse. You could have been going to Jack in the Box at 11:30 at night getting a munchie meal.
Oh, geez, no. Why do I have visions of this happening when we're in Vegas? You're going to be like, it'll be like 1 in the morning. Hey, Calvin, want to get up and go to Jack in the Box, get a munchies meal? Yeah,
you can have the tacos.
And then it's like, yeah, fine, screw it. You only live once, and we're in Vegas. Why not? We're like cruising down the street, like, I think it's Jack in the Box.
I know where it's at.
Oh, little mister, I have a geolocator in my head that can find anything. I swear, every time Jimmy goes to these places, they must like, he plug into like a USB port like Neo in the Matrix, and then plugs in to like get updated on like the locations of places, and is like, okay, I'm good to go again.
Did we ever talk about when I took you on those Golden Gate Bridge?
Wait, what?
Did we ever talk about when I took you over to the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge?
Oh yeah, and you tried to kill me going down the hill in the middle of nowhere?
So I took him to the Marin Headlands, and it's this park that's on the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge. It's north of it. And what's cool about it is you can go like way back up in there. And I took him way back up in there. He's like, where are we going?
Like, literally, we're going down this road, and he's like, oh, this is nothing. See this right here? This is where all the sissies went out. We're cruising down like this really, oh, thanks for reminding me of childhood. Going down like this really, really narrow, winding road that just keeps getting steeper and steeper. And then I sent out this like desperate video to a certain person in the chat right now going, if I died, you know, just post this to YouTube and everybody will know what'll happen. And Jimmy's all laughing maniacally in the seat. Oh, it was great.
You know, we went through there a week or 2 later, and they actually closed down that tunnel.
What?
Yeah, I guess they're working on the tunnel again for some reason.
Why are they not working on that stupid thing?
I don't know.
The one thing I will admit that I would love to do with that tunnel when it reopens, because like you can only go down there with 1 lane of traffic, would be to fly my drone ahead of the car filming while going down the tunnel. I know they'd probably hate me for that, but that'd be so much fun.
That would be. What's this about the Jack in the Box tacos?
I have no clue because somebody started roasting Jack in the Box, and then terrible things happened from there.
Jack in the Box is good.
You know, growing up as a kid, when my homeschool group would have their promotion night thing, you'd usually get like little free coupons with it, and usually I'd get like 1 or 2 for like a free milkshake at Jack in the Box. So that was like the highlight of childhood. After promotion night was getting the free milkshake thingy. That was like highlight of childhood, getting like a strawberry or a vanilla one.
I see Curtis is in the house. How you doing, my friend?
What's up, Curtis? Nagged Jimmy to build the Moai.
We got Jeffrey in the house.
Oh man. Oh, now I'm gonna need to bust out the hair gel. Oh, never mind. Yeah, I haven't been to Jack in the Box in forever. Usually if I'm out and about, I just go to like Costco or IKEA, and that's what I do for food.
What do you get at IKEA?
Usually I get the Swedish meatballs plate. That one's pretty good.
How much does that run?
About $6 or $7, I think.
That's not too bad.
No. We're not talking about that. We're not going there.
Oh, what's this?
You read the chat. I'm not saying it out loud.
Substitute hair gel for clippers?
Yeah. No.
I thought you were going to come on here with a mohawk today.
I said that if Print 3D came on.
No hair gel needed.
Don't give me ideas, or I will run off set for about 2 minutes, dunk my head into the sink, and throw hair gel in my hair just to mess with you guys. And then leave Jimmy to like sing or play the drums off set or something like that. I did have a funny idea though for when we do eventually get around to building the Moai. I thought it would be absolutely hilarious. You know how like on the Jimmy Fallon show and stuff, how they always have like those live entertainers? If we set up my laptop so that way it was sitting like in front of the drum set or something, and you're like, okay, we're gonna take a break. Take it away, Calvin. So you jump to the shot from my laptop, and I'm just sitting there like trying to beat out some horrible beat on the drum, and then you like cut the string for a minute. And then like 5 minutes goes by, and you're like, okay, we're back, and I'm like playing some horrible intro, and I'm like, okay, let's just get back to work.
Oh man.
I guess Premiere, which is Premiere at crashing a lot, has died again on people. Honestly, I feel bad for people when editing programs like that don't work out, but honestly, I just like using DaVinci Resolve because honestly, except for like one random freak out I've had with it, it just works.
Yeah. It was just like I've used, was this the CyberLink PowerDirector 14? It still does the trick for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I used to use Pinnacle Studio 15 on my what was it? On my computer running Windows XP before a certain person was very generous and donated the funds for me to go buy a proper computer that I now edit on, which is the Republic of Gamers laptop, which just like smokes the old computer. But there is something to be said for older editing programs, especially if all you're doing is stuff like me, where you're just compiling up clips, maybe doing a little quick time lapse, and that's it. It's, I mean, nothing against all the really sweet effects in other programs and stuff, but they're just more of a pain than a help sometimes. So that's just me, though.
It says here, Greg said that Windows Movie Maker is better. Honestly, that's what I started out with, and it did perfectly fine up until the point where I needed to start adding in more things. And then that's once I needed to put titles in and stuff like that, it just kind of outgrew it.
I'll put it this way. In my dad's television class, I had a lot of experience editing in Avid and other softwares like that. But at home, I just use Movie Maker a lot. And then I kind of graduated from there. My dad had an old Pinnacle CD that he gave me, loaded that on and used that for a long time. And then I finally got Resolve, which so far is my favorite. As far as like a free editing program, it definitely, there's certain things that you cannot do with it unless you buy the pro version. But for what I'm doing, it's way more than adequate. I mean, the ability to just import a series of images and have it automatically generate a time lapse is amazing. Way better than the old method where I'd have to use like GoPro Studio to take all the images and make it into a video file, then save that out. You know, a lot more work and a lot more effort, but you know, no editing software is perfect. But the thing that I've kind of figured out, especially from watching like Jerry over at Barnacules Nerdgasm do stuff, I mean, he's had a lot of issues with whatchamacallit not working with the, gosh darn it, brain's not working with Premiere and other editing programs crashing. But I almost sometimes wonder if it's because he has so much stuff on the computer, it doesn't know how to handle it.
I can't see it. I can't wait to see how his new computer works out.
Same here. I will put it this way: a computer that's designed for editing is definitely different from a computer that's designed for gaming. They're set up differently. One of them needs to have more ability to run things in the background and things like that. And the other one just needs to be able to spit out information really, really fast, and that's all you need. I mean, so those are
the last
two separate
the last
things.
computer that he had, which he named William, that one was designed for processing video and gaming. That thing was a beast. But the one he's got now is supposed to make that one look like a toy.
Yeah, I'll put it this way. I'm not a computer nerd. I don't make any claims to be a computer nerd, but it's definitely interesting how what you would think would make a computer work better can actually sometimes be a detriment. But then at the same time, it actually makes sense because you got to remember, you can only move data effectively so fast, you know, and to make it all work actually takes a bit of messing around in a sense.
King Random said gaming and design computers are similar. That they are. It's designing, like 3D design and everything like that. It depends more on GPU power than it does on CPU power, from what I understand.
Yeah, I think Eddie just explained it really well. He said that video editing is about processing power and gaming is about GPU, then processor. And that's totally true because in gaming, you're constantly having to regenerate the scene as you're going along. While with video editing, it's more just sitting there in the background, just churning out the information as you go along.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Sorry, my phone was blowing up there, guys.
Uh-oh. In trouble?
No, it's one of those irritating spam calls that I have a problem with getting. I have no clue what's up with that, but it is really irritating.
Yeah. It's getting pretty bad down here too. There's a lot of spam calls going on.
It's definitely getting to the point where you go, there's got to be a data breach somewhere, because this is getting a tad ridiculous, especially when you get like the same number calling multiple times in a day and you're just like,
yeah. Greg says he wants to build a new PC really bad. What happened to the pink one?
I don't know. I didn't do anything with it.
I thought he's going to make that that 3D Pink Mafia computer build. Remember?
I don't remember that one, but yeah, him and Heather are like together on this whole 3D Pink Mafia thing because this is like so amazing.
I did. He's
pink this, pink
right
that.
Now. He's flipping me off right now. He's probably throwing stuff at the computer.
Oh, now I'm gonna build a second new computer. Oh crap. So Eddie says that I actually got it wrong. He said design work and rendering uses the GPU because it handles the triangles better. Okay, thanks for the correction. Like I said, I'm not a tech nerd at all. But then King Random said there are a lot of new algorithms that use the GPU like a CPU thanks to the good old Bitcoin miners. Yeah, those people, I can't tell if they are loved or hated by the tech community. Personally, I really don't get the point of running digital mining. It's not profitable anymore. I'm sorry. You know, it's like unless you have a warehouse that's connected, warehouse full of little miners connected to like a always running dirt cheap power source, and you know you're happy making pennies other than $1 an hour. Sure, it's great. Other than that, it's gotten so hard and so expensive to make a computer to do it. Your ROI takes forever to be pulled off. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll put it this way. It's definitely another one of those tech fads. It'll die off shortly.
More than likely.
Yeah. I mean, and a slight segue into that is the recent, I really didn't want to talk about this, but I'm going to kind of keep it broad here. But one thing that I will say that I've also kind of noticed is the hobby 3D printing for hire market has definitely also dropped off a lot. And honestly, I'm not surprised at all by it. And I don't say that in any insult to people. Obviously, a lot of folks know that I've done and I still do 3D print for hire work. But the problem is now that there's so much more competition in the professional market, you can get prints done professionally for about the same rate as you would pay through these 3D print for hire service for somebody to use their FDM machine to pull it off. And it's kind of like, okay, what am I going to do? Pay for the FDM or pay $1 or $2 more to get it done professionally and have it way better? I'm going to pay to have it done professionally where it's way better. So then all the hobby people are like, oh, I'm making any business. But the problem is for the hobby person to turn a profit, they got to charge more than the professional person who has the equipment and can justify the price. And it's kind of just, you know, evened itself out. And the other thing is I think the market just got so oversaturated with people buying cheap printers thinking that they could, you know, turn into a 3D printing empire overnight. You know, it's, what can you do?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that there still isn't money to be made in it. It's just the market has evened itself out. And while I do feel bad for people who are making good money off of it, at the same time, I feel like they kind of needed to realize that, like any trend, you got to kind of ride the bubble while it's still good and then jump off right before it peaks, you know? So, not saying it's dead. I'm just saying it's definitely not what it used to be. And I don't think it's going to really go back to the way it was before. I think we've already had the peak and it's already tapering off. And, you know, call it what you want. But at the end of the day, hobby 3D printing can never hold a candle to professional 3D printing. I don't think it ever will due to various reasons. What is your opinion?
The 3D printing, like I said, I know exactly what business you're talking about.
Yeah, and I just don't want to name any names.
You don't want to say it out loud, but yeah, the whole thing is the printers that the people relying on to do that service for that company are pretty much available to the general public now as just hobby 3D printers. You know, you can buy a 3D printer now that will do a lot of the same work that most of those people were doing for around $300 at this point. And you can get an even better one for around $400, which if you're having a very much 3D printing, it's cheaper in the long run to just buy the equipment and do it yourself.
Yeah,
and
I mean, it's like, not to interject, but to give you guys an idea, I made these two, kind of hard to see here, but I made these two money holders for my friend Ashley over at Chip Builds on the Thingomatic, believe it or not. And, you know, it knocked them out just fine. They're not perfect, but they're more than adequate for the application. I mean, it goes to show that, you know, you don't need a super crazy expensive machine to pull off simple stuff like that, especially if all you're doing is you're just making a fast prototype and then you're jumping over to the professional sector to get the final product done. I do that a lot myself. I will 3D print a rough demo item for myself if I can do so. If it works, ship the part off to be professionally printed. I've made the test piece, which was really cheap and fast for me to do to double check my dimensions, ship it off to whoever for professional printing and call it done from there, you know.
Jeffrey DeRusso is saying, what would you consider the professional printing? I would consider professional printing being the professional SLA type printing. Isn't that what you think?
Personally, I would classify professional printing as, and I don't want to sound like I'm stereotyping machines here, but I'm talking the kind of equipment that has been on the market for like 20 years, like known companies like Stratasys. I'm talking like, I count a professional FDM print done on like a Stratasys Dimension machine, an FDM printer, like a commercial one. I count that as a commercial 3D print. The thing is, it's the machine. It's kind of like with the CNC machines. I have a little CNC machine. It works great and whatnot. But when you compare it to even a very low-end professional one, the features and the quality between the two, you can't even hold a candle to them. I mean, my old CAD instructor over at the school in San Francisco over at City College, she actually did a professional print for me on a Stratasys machine, an FDM that had dissolving supports, and the quality on it was just incredible, considering that over half the print needed supports. The surfaces turned out absolutely perfect. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, machines like, you know, Ultimaker 3s or a Prusa with an MMU can't do similar, but, you know, the main thing is, can those machines do like a giant Marvin size print in ABS with no shrinkage, no cracking, good dimensional stability? I don't think so. You know, it's a whole nother level. It's not to say that you can't get really good quality prints from a hobby machine, but the price is different. The quality expectations and just the overall how it was made, in a sense, is definitely different. It's like my friend Lance over at NURBS, who did all those 3D prints in the last video that I did, the $730 3D print unboxing video. I mean, I didn't pull the parts out of the packaging for most of the stuff just because I didn't want to lose anything. But the quality of the prints, I mean, bar none, is just insane when you compare it even to something that a hobby level SLA printer or things like that, you know, the level of stuff. Or a really good example is this little grill right here that was done on the PolyJet. Literally, it's 10,000ths of an inch thick, or 1/4 millimeter, which is below what's considered the minimum. And each one of little lattices is 10,000ths of an inch. I'd love to see, and if anybody wants to try printing that, I will gladly send you the file. But if I don't see anybody with even a resin printer being able to pull something like that off with no support scars or anything like that. I mean, the quality level is just like way higher, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We got some good stuff going on in the chat. Eddie was saying he disagrees a little bit. Chris says that professional equals you get paid for your print. I don't really classify that. I agree a little bit more with Eddie. He pulls a good thread. He goes, he disagrees. Just like every mom with a camera thinks they're a professional photographer, it's a good point. I noticed the same thing with the GoPro. It's like my dad's like was slightly lamenting the fact that when GoPros came out, they kind of, in a sense, died off the teaching television production field. But I'm like, look, just because you have a GoPro doesn't mean you know how to shoot anything. I'm like, there's so many people on YouTube who have incredible equipment that I could only dream of, but they make awful videos because they don't know how to use it. And it's really frustrating because you're like, dude, you got like thousands of dollars in video equipment and you can't make a video with it. You know, it sucks a lot. You know, Eddie also said a professional photographer can make a photo no one else has and turn out gold from crap. Yeah, that's the thing. Another thing I think that also plays a role is experience. And I'm not saying that this doesn't apply across the board, but you know, it's definitely, it's like, what do you consider the professional sector versus what do you consider the hobby sector, especially with a lot of people now, especially with the gig economy, with people working from home and things like that. What do you classify as professional? What do you classify as not? Is it wearing a suit and tie and using a $100,000 machine? Or is it, you know, not?
Jeffrey says send the model to him. He's up for the challenge.
Yeah, I just told him to tweet me his email. It's a very, very tricky print. I'm going to put it that way. It is extremely tiny and extremely delicate. So when I actually got the print in and it turned out, I was just like absolutely blown away. Chris is saying he agrees a lot of it comes with experience and talent. Yeah, that is totally true, especially in machining. You could, if you didn't know what something came from, you know, you could have a very nice machine or an old one that's kind of sloppy, but as long as the parts are coming out good and you know how to use the equipment to its maximum potential, it definitely helps. So, I mean, I didn't want to spark a war in here with what's, you know, professional and not. And I know it's definitely something that's a contentious topic, but I would consider hobby 3D printing is something that, you know, more or less is using low-end equipment that lacks a lot of the features that a professional machine does, just in terms of software, hardware, build environment, materials, things like that. Because you got to remember, hobby 3D printing has not been around for very long. Commercial 3D printing has been around for a long time. And I understand there's a lot of stuff that's just tied up in patents and things like that. But there's also just certain things that it just takes time to iron out all the bugs. I mean, we've come a long ways with stuff, but, you know, that whole thing.
Yeah.
So Jeff had one other thing. He said he has a follow-up question. What about people that do the post-processing professionally with non-professional printers? That's a good question. I guess at the end of the day, it's kind of like, it doesn't really matter what you get. I guess it's kind of like people who take those toy Nerf guns and give them a really nice paint and weathering job, and all of a sudden, you know, maybe modify a few things on them visually and take them from, oh, you know, it's just a little toy, you know, cheapo thing, to, oh my gosh, this thing looks like a movie prop. You know, that I would say you might be taking a toy print or low cost, non-professional print, you're giving it a professional job. But at the end of the day, like what Eddie's saying in chat right now, he goes, it's ability. And I agree with that. It's the skill and the knowledge behind it to make the item into something that's different. But that's more of a post-production side of things than actually producing the item in a sense.
Yeah.
What do you have to say as somebody who's also got experience in the professional sector in a way, Jimmy?
Yeah, I mean, Definitely, it's a lot of the post processing. I imagine makes a huge difference on how those prints turned out, because I can imagine that there was a certain amount of support material that had to be done on those that you showed. There had to be something, right?
Yeah, let me actually see if I can find the print really fast, because I actually asked Lance to make a print for me and actually not remove the support on purpose, because I was going to show it in the video. But this is a great example, a great opportunity. So let me see if I can dig it out really fast. This is how you know you have an addiction, when like half the box is full of professional prints. Some of these are also demo prints. So
now, how much was that box again? 700 and something?
The box that I showed on camera, yeah, that was $730 in prints. Oh, here we go. This is one of the parts that was done in the video. So it's a little bit hard to see, but I'll post up a rendering tonight on Twitter of it. But it's got a lot of details in it. It's extremely well done. And it's definitely something, you know, the other thing is there are zero support scars. That's the huge thing. You know, it's not like other printers where you've got the support scars and, you know, you got to sand it down. This doesn't have that, which is partly what differentiates it in a way. See if I can find the print really fast. Is it in the box? Or it might be elsewhere. But yeah, it's one of those things that's definitely a very, 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 very contentious topic. And I don't feel that's a bad thing in a way. It, you know, it sparks discussion on what's truly worth shelling out a bunch of money for and what's not in a way. Sorry, I'm jumping on and off screen all the time, guys. Oh, come on, where did the prints go? I just had the other a little while ago. No, that's not it. This is what happens when you're like super organized before the stream starts. Oh, here we go. Perfect. Found it. I'm back. White Tigress 18 made a good statement. She goes, would you define hobby as something that is a side gig, whereas professional is where your main income comes from? Boom. Totally nailed it on that one. It plays a major role. I mean, if you're doing something as a hobby gig, you're going to treat it definitely differently than if you're doing it as your full-time profession. I think that plays a role in a sense. It is not everything, but you definitely notice people whose livelihood depends upon what they're doing are going to be turning out a much different product and have a much different attitude than just, yeah, you know, I do it on the side, make some cash money, and then go watch movies on the weekend with it or buy games or, you know, that sort of thing. But this should give you guys an idea. It might not show up super well on camera, so let me dig out a similar print that doesn't have the supports. But this is what the print looks like without the support material coming off a professional by my classifications machine. You can see it. Sadly, the really fine details won't show up. Oh, later, King Random. Have a good one.
Have a good one, King Random. Thank you for joining.
And this is what one that comes off the machine without the support material removed. Sorry about the glare, but it literally has the support literally surrounding the whole model. And then I'm assuming, and I'll be doing this on camera, you put it into the water, and I guess the support material is this special resin that dissolves all on its own, which I've never done before, but Lance was seriously nice enough to send me one of these without removing the support because I wanted to show it on camera. And I'm doing an upcoming video where I describe that, but that's part of the reason why the prints turn out so good, is because of the dissolving resin supports.
That's awesome.
So
that's a lot like
it's very.
It's a lot like that Ultimaker we were looking at back when we went to the meetup.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot like the Ultimaker 3, where you have that dissolving support, and because of that, you can have that zero interference layer. But the one thing that makes the method of doing this interesting is it's like an inkjet printer. It literally just spits out little droplets of resin that instantly get cured by a UV light. And it's something that I honestly don't see ever happening in the hobby sector, just because of the complexity of it and the extreme cost of it, and just the very fiddly diddliness of it, in a sense. You know, you're literally, look at how often your inkjet printer dies and cartridges go bad, and this one's using precision droplets of resin. It's something I will gladly pay other people to do for me.
Yeah, definitely. Now, how's the strength on that compared to, say, an SLA print?
I'd say the strength is, it depends. I mean, it's definitely not going to be as strong as, say, a one-piece resin casting, like you make a rubber mold of it and you cast it from that. But I would say it's probably comparable to an SLA casting. Depends upon what you're doing, though, for the overall strength of it. I definitely know from hard experience that the material, some of the materials have different properties, but I know from experience the hard way that it does not like being bent a lot, because it can then just snap like that. But any material is going to be prone to that to some extent. I mean, there's things like nylons, which are like crazy tough, but that's a totally different material altogether. But also the usual print orientation, thickness of stuff, etc., 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 plays a role. It's like those grills on my little locomotive are extremely delicate. I mean, if I were to touch it any more than just very lightly touch it, I would probably break it. But that's because it is extremely thin. But on your average print with about a 1 millimeter wall thickness, I'd say it's fairly strong. I mean, I'm not in the mood to do any destructive testing, but it's definitely strong enough for your average application. We'll put it that way.
So how much did a grill cost?
No more than 20, probably no more than 25 to 50 cents each, if that.
Oh, okay.
Not including setup costs and not including shipping. So the little tiny prints are extremely cheap. Those front pilots that I showed earlier, I think were about $3.50 a piece, something like that. I need to actually go through and slightly need to delete out my personal information on the invoice that I got, but I need to actually upload an image of that. So if anybody wants to see the pricing of the different components, they can do so. And the way the invoice works is it shows the total price for the unit items, which you can just take the total price and divide it by the unit items and figure out the unit cost that way. But the price for those, for little stuff, is actually extremely cheap, especially considering that my friend only charges a flat setup fee. He doesn't charge you a setup fee per item like Shapeways does. He just charges you a setup fee, and then everything else just gets tacked on under that. Is part of the reason why I do big orders, so it makes it worthwhile for his setup fee, makes it worthwhile for me, and it just makes more sense that way as well. I mean, if I'm going to spend about 10 bucks shipping and setup fees, might as well get as much as I can.
Looks like White Tigers 18's out on their way out. Thank you for joining. You take care.
Thanks for crashing the stream as always. Yes, Jeff, when I get done with the stream, I'll send you the file over for that. Don't worry. But each one of those little under frames, to give an idea, was about $3 to $5 a piece, depending upon their size, which, all things considered, is actually a pretty fair price. And there's extremely, extremely tiny details that won't show up on my camera on here, but I'll include those with some other photos to give you guys an idea. The stuff that can be done is just insane. It's things that I've tried doing with FDM, even with extremely tiny nozzles, and it doesn't work. You might be able to do it with a resin printer, but I'm still waiting to get the test prints in from Chris, so we'll see about that.
Are you reading this? Are you reading the comment from Chris Mitchell?
Yeah, I was just going to say that. He goes, question, why don't slicers provide kind of a spot weld option? Like at various points through the print, The nozzle could be pressed into the infill, etc., to weld the layers together. Honestly, I could see that being more problematic than helpful, mostly in terms of the material actually sticking to the nozzle itself and creating more problems. As it is, you're getting decent layer adhesion when you really think about it. All the layer adhesion is coming from one layer of hot plastic being laid on top of another. And given that certain materials like one hot layer being laid on top of another, others don't care. Very material specific, so I'm not really going to name material names. Anybody who knows anything about 3D printing will know what I'm talking about. But honestly, I really don't think there's much you could do except for what Essentium Materials at Materials Genius on Twitter is doing, where they literally coat the model with this special gel and they put it into an effectively a modified microwave oven, and it literally almost like melts the outside layers together to form. It's a little bit like acetone vapor polishing in a sense, how it melts everything into one more solidified mass. They're doing something like that, which at first I was kind of skeptical about when I first heard about it, but now that I've seen them doing it more, originally it was more of like a theory thing. Now that they're talking about doing it more, it actually has the potential to make some really interesting high strength prints that are non-dimensionally critical in a sense.
Yeah.
So Jeff is saying, what if you filled it in after the fact if it's cooled? I've heard of people doing that with resin, but the problem is all of a sudden you run into the problems of resin with heat buildup, shrinkage, and just extreme weight gain, as well as the cost. I mean, if you guys saw my epoxy granite video, I spent about $40 and also had some donated by PJ, which was really nice. I spent about $40 to $50 just in resin to do all the components on my mill. And it wasn't a lot of resin at that. And that almost turned out to be a giant disaster the second time around when I went to do the resin, because it was damp out and I didn't realize fiberglass resin absolutely despises damp weather. So I literally had to spend like 4 hours with a heat gun warming up the giant parts that I had done to allow the resin to finally begin to cure. So resin filling a model just opens up a whole new can of worms. Personally, it's definitely one of those cases of if you really need something strong, go get it machined. Making something out of a solid block of material is way better than doing it from a bunch of little layers of material that are effectively stuck together, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. Well, my friend, are you about ready to call it?
I'm about ready to call it. I'm crashing here fast.
I crashed 30 minutes ago.
I could see you just like.
I was like.
He was like, come on, Calvin, seriously, just cut the stream right now. I'm dying.
Oh, man. I didn't realize getting back into sales was going to take it out of me like this.
Hey, you're all good. I didn't realize 2 days of being in South San Jose back to back, we're going to kick my butt as hard as they did, plus getting ready for the holidays and stuff. So I feel you on that one. Even though I'm not in your position, I feel you on that one. Totally.
Well, let's go ahead and call it. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining. You guys have a good one. Join us next week on my channel, and we'll do it again.
Sounds good. And have a happy Thanksgiving. And if you guys 3D print anything, shout us out in the tweets. We'd love to see what you guys end up doing if you do 3D print some stuff for the holidays. It'd be kind of cool to see what people did.
Most definitely. Thank you very much, guys. Take care, and see you next week.
See you next time on Jimmy's channel.